analysis 有關嘅喎。我哋會問啦，What will be the cost of producing the product？我生產呢個產品嘅成本係幾多咧？What should be the selling price？唔好意思啊，等一等下。Hello，大家好，聽唔聽到啊？依家聽唔聽到我講嘢啊？聽到啊，係咪下個禮拜教 Fusion 360？係啊，係下個禮拜教 Fusion 360啊，下個禮拜教 Fusion 360，所以咧大家咧係一定要裝嘅。過咗今個禮拜之後，無論點你都一定要裝噶啦。如果唔係咧，下個禮拜就因為下個禮拜二咧，我哋就已經開始咧運用，即係應該開始試下用嗰個 Fusion 360啦。所以你哋一定要今個 weekend 要裝咗佢嘅。聽到就 OK 啦，very good。Okay, this week we are going to talking about the product development economics. When we are going to develop a product, we must consider about all the elements about the economics. 嗱，當我哋真係要去開發一個產品嘅時候咧，我哋必須要考慮到一樣嘢咧，就係嗰個產品同佢相關嘅一啲經濟學嘅資訊啦。咁我哋會問啦，乜嘢為之經濟學嘅資訊咧？我哋會問幾樣嘢嘅。我哋會問，What will be the cost of producing the product？究竟生產呢個產品啊，個成本係幾多咧？What should be the selling price？究竟佢售價又應該要俾幾多啦？How can we estimate the selling price？How can we estimate the selling price and cost of production even before finishing the design？喺完成呢個設計之前，我哋點樣去估算售價同生產嘅成本？點樣去模擬翻？點樣去估計翻呢？除此之外啦，喺產品嘅早期階段啦，我哋話啦個開發啦，佢呢個產品嘅開發咧，到10%到15%嘅時候咧，其實幾乎就已經講緊係整個產品開發階段，整個生產成本要承擔咗80%嘅成本㗎啦。咁你可以睇到個 graph 嗰度見到㗎。嗱，我哋話咯，percentage of product cost continued 係由0去到100%，但係 in the early phase of product development 啦，你講緊係只係10到15%嘅產品開發咗咧，你已經 commit 咗80% 嘅成本㗎啦。咁我哋好自然咧都會諗啊，我個朋友用500蚊買咗嚿咁嘅嘢，佢最主要都係一啲 plastics 同有一啲 electronics 嘅啫。咁其實我諗我用100蚊都已經做得到啦。咁我覺得我應該去做呢門生意喎，我應該會賺到好多錢。我諗大家咧好多時買一啲產品啦，或者見到某一啲產品嘅定價咧，都會有呢一個諗法嘅，係咪？咁我哋都會問啦，其實喺整件事當中，喂，件嘢賣500蚊，其實你俾100蚊我啊，我做俾你。我哋會唔會 overlook 咗某一啲潛在嘅原因咧、潛在嘅因素咧？除此以外啦，究竟係乜嘢決定緊呢一個產品嘅 cost 咧？係乜嘢嘅 attributes 去 determine 緊個 cost of product 咧？我哋話其實個 cost of products 咧係基於呢一堆咁樣嘅 attributes 嘅，當中包括咗最實際啦，就係個 manufacturing cost。manufacturing cost 佢可以包括咗係個 labour cost、tooling cost、packaging cost、parts cost，以至到個 QC cost。除此以外，我哋嘅 overhead cost 啦，無論你生產與否，你都要用呢個錢㗎。例如租金、保險、管理，仲有就係 marketing cost。當我哋要賣呢個產品嘅時候，可能我哋會做一啲市場上面嘅需求，可能係存貨啦、inventory 嘅問題啦、transportation 啦、做 advertising 啦。以至到我哋當中可能會有 liability 同埋個 warranty，呢一啲都構成咗嗰個 cost of product。咁我哋話 product development cost 當中啦，包括咗好多樣嘢，可能係個 information gathering 啦、marketing research 啦、patents 啦、engineering design and development 啦、testing 啦、CAD and simulation 啦。prototype 嘅 construction 同個 testing 啦，product validation 啦，以至到更加多其他嘅嘢嘅。咁我哋話，當我哋真係要去製造個產品，好自然會牽涉到製造去生產 manufacturing costs。Manufacturing costs are those costs that are directly involved in manufacturing of products。Manufacturing costs 咧可以話係直接同你生產呢個產品係最有關聯嘅，and it's divided into three broad categories。咁佢可以分為三大類，包括咗 direct material cost 直接嘅材料成本啦，direct 嘅 labour cost 直接嘅人工成本啦，manufacturing or factory overhead cost 嗰個生產或者係嗰個工廠一啲會間接需要使用到嘅一啲 overhead 嘅 cost 啦，當中可能係一啲 rental 啦，當中可能係一啲 equipment 啦，點樣去管理啦，諸如此類。And here is some elements of manufacturing cost. We say that the manufacturing costs include cost of custom components and the cost of standard components plus cost of assembly and the overhead cost。咁我哋話啦，manufacturing cost 咧，其實佢總括咧係包含咗幾樣嘢嘅。第一部分就係個 component，第二部分就係個 assembly，第三部分就係個 overhead。而 component 當中咧，我哋可以分開咗做 custom 嘅 component 同 standard 嘅 component。咩為之 standard 嘅 component 咧？叫標準件。custom 嘅 component 咧，可以係一啲好 tailor-made 嘅嘢，或者佢係由一啲 raw material 去製造出嚟嘅嘢，以至到佢整個 processing 啦，佢做出嚟嘅 tooling 啦，都係一啲 custom 嘅 component 嚟嘅。咁至於 non-manufacturing costs 啦，咁當中就包括咗好多啦。Non-manufacturing costs are those costs that are not directly related to manufacturing of a project of a product。即係話 non-manufacturing costs 簡單嚟講，同你生產嗰件嘢係無關嘅。但係當你呢件嘢要製造、要開發，佢係需要存在嘅。我哋一般都認為啦，佢係 divided into two categories 嘅。我哋可以理解 non-manufacturing costs can be divided into two categories. First of all, is selling and distribution costs, and the other one is administrative costs。咁非製造成本啦，非增產嘅成本啦，我哋可以分為兩大類。第一類咧就係行政費用 （administrative）。 包括咗一啲 executive 啦、organizational 啦、clerical 嘅成本。另外一個啦，就係 selling and distribution 啦，就係話銷售同分銷所需要嘅成本，當中包括咗 sales 啦、marketing 啦。咁我哋可以理解到啦，整個產品開發咧，佢由工廠發貨出去要做 shipment，然後去到各地嘅 warehouse 儲存，然後再要去做一啲 packaging，以至到去有一啲 shipment。去 deliver 俾唔同嘅客戶或者 distributor。咁喺咁嘅情況底下咧，呢啲咧都牽涉到成本嘅需要嘅。咁而我哋話啦，一個產品開發嘅時候，究竟有啲乜嘢嘅因素牽涉到係關於個 price 咧？Attributes relate to price of a product。我哋話啦，個 price of product 咧，should ideally be set at a level roughly equal to the purchaser perception of the product's value。呢個係咩意思咧？即係話其實個產品嘅定價好視乎於購買者佢認為呢個產品值幾多錢。舉例啦，I need a 2-year payback in order to buy it, or the product's image is cool, I want it. The latter is a highly variable individual perception and difficult to accurately define。我哋話，我哋就要好清楚嗰個購買者佢認為呢個產品，佢覺得呢個產品嘅價值係幾多啦？佢可以話係，喂，我覺得我需要2年嘅時間去儲錢，先至可以買到呢一樣嘢喎。又或者係，哇，佢真係好有型啊！我真係好想要，佢真係好特別，我想要。而喺後者當中咧，其實呢一個對於嗰個 individual perception 咧，係好大程度嘅 variable 嘅。因為你諗下啦，你覺得好有型，你想要就代唔代表另外嗰個人都會好想要咧？唔一定㗎。咁喺咁嘅情況底下咧，你就好難好準確地去界定究竟呢個產品值幾多錢啦。我哋話啦，the availability of competitive products and the passing of time tend to lower the perceived value of a product。好容易理解一樣嘢咧，就係一個產品擺得越耐咧，我哋就會越覺得佢嘅價值會減低。同樣地啦，越多競爭性嘅產品喺市場上面，我哋就會相對地想揀一啲平啲嘅產品啦。咁其實喺咁嘅情況底下咧，我哋話啦，價格嘅 attributes 咧，可以根據呢5樣嘢去考量嘅，例如 value provide or perceive，我哋覺得佢值幾多啦。Life cycle cost 佢生命周期，整個產品嗰個週期，覺得個成本會係幾多啦？佢應該會用到幾耐啦？Options available 有冇一啲選擇性啦？例如市場上面有冇其他啲替代品咧？Profit to seller 究竟個利潤又係幾多咧？Popularity image sizzle 就係話佢有冇一個人氣啊？會唔會大家呢一期都好中意呢個產品咧？呢一啲都係界定咗嗰個 price of a product 嘅。咁究竟真係點樣去定個 selling price 咧？我哋話 set 個 price 咧係 based on 個 total cost of the unit plus desired profit。我哋會係將佢嘅總成本 of 個 unit 再加上我想要嘅利潤。咁我哋話啦，easy to apply but ignores market condition，聽落就好容易處理得到，但係我哋有時咧就會忽略咗市場嘅情況啦。喺呢幅圖我哋就會見到啦，嗱，direct material 再加 direct。 direct labour 啦，就構成咗個 prime cost。而 prime cost 再加 factory 嘅 expenses 咧，就構成咗個 factory cost，再加個 general expenses 就構成咗個 manufacturing cost，再加個 sales expenses 就構成咗個 total cost，而 total cost 再加個 profit 咧，就係我哋嘅 selling price。聽落好似好容易去處理得到，但係我哋話啦，我哋係需要考慮翻市場上面個競爭性嘅。我哋話個 pricing of 個 product 啦，係 depends notably on the competition and the market，主要係取決於市場上面嘅競爭。In a weakly competitive market，如果嗰個市場嘅競爭係較弱嘅話，舉個例，例如係咩咧？係一個好封閉式嘅 market，你個 sales price 啦就會等於係 cost 加 profit。但係如果喺 modern open market，佢嘅 competition 係好激烈嘅，咁你嗰個 pricing 嘅 equation 啦，就會變成咗個 cost 等於個 sales price 減 profit。咁啊，大家都會覺得，喂，呢兩條公式其實都冇乜分別啫。有分別嘅，在於你係睇邊一樣嘢行先。我哋話個 sales price 啦，係 defined by 個 market competition 同個 products 嘅 competitiveness，即係話如果嗰個產品嘅競爭性非常之高、非常之大，喺市場競爭亦都好犀利嘅話，咁你嗰個就會係一個 modern open market 嘅狀況。所以個 sales price 咧係好取決於呢個市場競爭，以至到你嘅產品嘅競爭力。Profit should never be bargained to ensure the company's survival in the long run。喺你呢一個profit 當中啦，喺你呢個盈利當中咧，你唔應該討價還價，唔應該去 bargain，因為你咁樣先至能夠確保你嘅公司可以長久地運作。咁亦都係因為咁嘅原因咧，cost 咧係一個 target function that can be influenced by the companies。你個成本咧就變成咗一個非常之重要，係一個好目標性嘅一個功能啦。原因係你嘅成本將會影響緊你究竟獲得幾多嘅利潤。咁我哋話啦，estimate value to end user 咧，我哋可以 apply 呢一個叫做 value perception，究竟佢值幾多？我哋話佢值幾多咧，好難去界定喎，好難去估計喎。如果我望落去，佢真係好有型，我真係好想要，咁佢可能咪值好多錢咯？幾多錢我都願意買咯。其實都唔係嘅，我哋會有一個 estimation 嘅。咁呢一個 estimation 係幫助我哋去界定個 value perception 嘅。A product that provides differentiation from a competitive product that gives value to the end user can command a high price. It's quite common because when you see the product is very different, is very exceptional, it's different with the products in the market competitive with. So you prefer you'll be fine to pay more to buy this kind of product. So you don't mind to have a high price。我哋話啦，如果你嘅產品有一個產品，佢同市場上其他產品嘅競爭性，或者係佢嘅外觀或者各方面，同市場上面嘅產品係好唔一樣嘅話，咁佢就會令到個 end user 有一個 perception，就係覺得佢好特別，佢就會願意用一個更加高嘅價錢去購買，因為佢覺得值得。我哋可以舉個例啦，for example，the iPhone commands a high price than its competitor that provide similar basic functions。 Some differentiating features for the iPhone are access to apps and Apple name or Masque。我哋話其實 iPhone 咧啱啱一出嘅時候，佢嘅定位咧係相對於其他同類型產品高嘅。原因係咩咧？因為佢嘅外觀，因為佢嘅特性，因為佢係比起同類型嘅產品，佢比較特別。除此之外啦，佢能夠 access 到 Apps 呢一個概念，我哋會用 Apps 去幫我哋做一啲嘢。再加上 Apple 呢個品牌嘅名啦，佢呢一部機好似一個 identity 一樣啦，有一個神秘感咯。喺咁嘅情況底下啦，就令到佢嘅價格可以相對較昂貴啦。除此以外啦，we also take a look at the pricing and the value of similar products, differentiation offered by the products, life cycle cost of the product, and how is the competition likely to respond。咁我哋仲會考慮啲咩啦？考慮其他同類型產品嘅定價啦，佢價值係咩啦？究竟呢個產品提供嘅differentiation 佢嘅分別啦，佢嘅差異係咩啦？呢個產品佢 life cycle 嘅成本係咩咧？佢競爭對手又會係點樣去 response 翻呢？除此以外，當我哋定價咧，我哋需要有一啲 pricing strategies。We also have to have some pricing strategies to set our selling price of the product. The pricing to meet the competition when there is highly competitive market and undifferentiated product. And pricing below competitions is commonly used by discount retailer, and pricing above competition is usually only when product is distinctive or the seller has acquired prestige。我哋話一個價格嘅策略咧，定價嘅策略咧，如果佢貴過一個市場上面競爭性一個價格啦，咁原因係咩咧？通常就係呢個產品有一個好獨特嘅地方，有啲獨特性，又或者佢銷售嘅人或者佢嘅品牌，佢有一個特定嘅聲望。但係如果佢係低於競爭嘅價格嘅話，通常都係為咗俾一啲折扣或者零售商去使用嘅。除此以外啦，如果我哋係喺市場競爭價格當中啦，係喺一個 range 當中啦，咁呢一個咁嘅狀況咧，就話你嘅產品如果喺呢個市場上面係冇乜特別。除此以外，你呢一個產品嘅 market 咧，已經係 highly competitive，非常競爭性高啦。喺咁嘅情況底下咧，我哋就會話啦，你就可以按住當時市場競爭嘅價格位置去定啦。And how about how to estimate the target cost? We said that cost is very important because it can define how much you can earn, even you have a price。我哋話啦，其實你點樣去定你嗰個成本或者叫目標成本啦 （target cost） 啦，其實都好緊要嘅喎，因為你嘅 cost 就係取決緊你可以賺得多定少。Ultimately, the selling price is the price at which the product can success in the marketplace. And once the selling price is decided, the cost required to make necessary profit can be back calculated。我哋咧就可以話啦，當我哋決定咗個售價，個產品嘅售價喺市場上面，如果呢一個售價係攞得到一個成功嘅 marketplace 嘅位置嘅話咧，咁我哋就可以調翻轉去計翻 back calculate 啦，調翻轉去計翻究竟我哋需要用幾多成本啦。我哋就以 IKEA 我哋又就以 IKEA 一啲 product 嘅計算方法去計算下啦。 Let's have a look on a sample from ECOA, a product costing articles. And from the manufacturer, the cost and profit is equals to about 100%, is approximately $72. And when it comes to the manufacturer's selling price, it also is 100% is $72. But if we place in the wholesaler, the cost it needs to be $72, but it comes up as 80% of the total price, which means we need to plus 18% for the markup. And the wholesale selling price is 100%, which is $9. And then we also have a markup as a retailer. So the retailer price is 150, which means the wholesaler selling price plus their retailer's markup. And then to the consumer is 150. If 150 is a successful market price in the market, is a successful selling price in the market, we can count it back. We can count it back to calculate the cost or the target cost or the maximum cost we should have. And then we can try to minimize the cost through this process. 嗱，當我哋計算嘅時候，換算嘅時候咧，作為 manufacturer 啦，哦，佢72蚊喎，咁 manufacturer 咧就會以72蚊咧就去俾個 wholesaler 啦。wholesaler 咧佢就會話啦，哇72蚊我仲要加翻自己嘅利潤㗎，所以佢就會加18蚊去賣俾分銷俾 retailer 啦。好啦，retailer 我要賣俾人，我都要賺錢㗎。我90蚊攞翻嚟，我要賺喎，我賺60蚊，所以佢賣俾顧客係150蚊。咁如果150蚊係一個合理成功嘅市場定價，我哋就可以反過嚟去揾翻我哋嘅 target cost，或者我哋最多可以承受嘅 cost。咁即係話我哋就要揾辦法喺呢個 cost 上面減低，以至到可以 minimize 到去一個我哋增加利潤嘅狀況。When we're talking about the profit, we need to consider the margins. The approximate margins or the gross margin can be calculated by the price minus the cost and divided by the price. And you can see from the figures, and we can estimate how much of different kind of products, different categories of the products, how much for their gross margin. Say for toys, the gross margin is approximately about 10 to 20%. And for sporting goods, normally as 5 to 15%. For the department stores, the gross margin is about 30 to 50%. So you can base on this kind of marketing information to decide how much of your gross margin you're going to receive. 嗱，我哋話啦，我哋可以根據市場上面呢一啲咁樣嘅資訊啦，幫助我哋去諗去睇翻，喂，究竟佢嘅成本，我嘅毛利應該係要幾多咧？我哋知道啦，毛利咧 gross margin 啦，或者叫毛利率啦，其實就係個價格減翻個成本，除翻個價格。咁我哋就可以因應翻唔同類型、唔同系列嘅產品，佢哋普遍市場上面嘅 gross margin 係幾多？我哋根據呢個資訊咧，就去訂立翻我哋相應嘅價位，或者係訂立翻我哋相應嘅 target cost 啦。Let's have a look on an example on a case study on the price calculations. The marketing team of a floor care products design and manufacturing company identified a market opportunity for a new vacuum cleaner for growing aging population. And the proposed selling price is 2,200. And estimate a target cost for this vacuum cleaner if the company plans to sell this product in retail store, selling products for hourly, and the product distribution is handled by a wholesale distribution partner company, and clearly state all your selection and assumption with appropriate justification。當我哋如果真係要計算個價格嘅時候咧，我哋就話啦，而家咧有個 marketing team，佢就處理緊一啲 floor care 嘅 product 嘅設計同生產，以至到銷售啦。佢哋target 嘅 market 啦，就係為咗不斷增長嘅人口老化，去提供一個真空吸塵器嘅一個產品。咁我哋建議嘅售價啦，就係2200蚊港元。如果間公司計劃喺呢個 retail store 賣呢個產品，咁究竟我哋 estimate 嘅 target cost 係點計咧？我哋就會利用翻頭先揾到嘅 gross margin 去計啦。而我哋話啦，產品分銷商個 product distribution，佢就會 handle 點樣去做個 wholesale distribution 俾佢嘅 partner。咁即係話呢一部分都會構成咗喺我哋嘅 pricing 當中啦。除此以外啦，當你真係要去換算嘅時候，係唔係能夠可以決定到你點樣去揀選呢？又或者你會俾啲乜嘢嘅 assumption 去做呢個 justification 呢？咁我哋話啦，好自然你就會根據翻呢一個表。如果佢係 wholesaler 嘅 distribution，我哋會見到啦，視乎佢唔同嘅產品，我哋會有 wholesaler 唔同嘅 distribution。同樣地啦，如果佢去做再俾 retailer 嘅話，當中佢又會係幾多咧？我哋就可以因應呢一個咁樣嘅 graph，大概有一個 approximation 去換算翻，佢究竟應該係要有幾多嘅利潤。除此以外啦，產品開發咧，一定要有個錢喺度噶嘛。In fact, when we are doing the product development, we need to have a cash. We need to ensure the cash flow is good enough for the whole product development。當我哋做呢個產品開發嘅時候，我哋要 make sure 我哋嘅現金流量係足夠嘅。咁所以咧，我哋就會考慮一個叫做 return factor。When we consider the cash flow is good enough for your product development, we will consider the return factors. It's the ratio of the total profit to the total investment at the period delta T after the manufacture of the product begins at TM. And you see RF, the return factor at delta T, which is shown in the graph in the figure. The delta T is the period from the development time, just after development time, and then until you are going to sell, you are going to sell. And this total profit over the total investment is the return factors. And the goal of the entire product development cycle is to attain the largest return factor in the shortest possible time with respect to TM and TE。咁我哋話啦，當我哋要考慮個 cash flow 嘅時候，我哋就會考慮一個叫 return factor RF。呢一個數值咧，就係喺一個特定嘅時間 delta T 當中，佢嘅 total profit over 翻佢嘅 total investment 係幾多？當然越大，即係話你個 return factor 越大啦，亦即係話越好啦。喺整個產品開發嘅週期咧，我哋嘅目標咧係盡可能喺最短嘅時間入邊獲得最大嘅 return factor。而當然啦，所謂嗰個時間咧，我哋係 within 喺 TM 去到 TE 呢一個階段嘅。 TM 去到 TE 呢一個階段嘅。咁我哋又睇下啲 case studies 啦。The product development in internet age, and right now we call our age is kind of internet age。好多時咧，我哋都話而家呢個世代咧係一個 E 世代啦。Everything is going into the internet，所有嘢都係 internet 嗰度去做啦。咁究竟喺整個 internet age 入邊咧how the product development is developed? We can have an example. It's Quirky. Quirky is an invention platform. Quirky 啦係一個產品發明嘅一個平台嚟㗎。佢哋嘅 slogan 係咩咧？就係 We believe the best ideas in the world aren't actually in the world. They're locked inside people's heads. We exist to solve that problem. 佢哋嘅 slogan 就係話，佢哋相信咧世界上面最好嘅 idea 啦，就未出現喺呢個世界上面嘅。佢哋會點做咧？佢哋話啦，呢一啲 idea 通常都係 lock 住咗、鎖住咗喺我哋嘅腦海入邊嘅。咁我哋嘅存在咧，Quirky 嘅存在咧，就係幫助去解決呢個問題，亦即係話。The existing Quirky, their aims is to help people to develop their idea in the brain, in their head。我哋話啦，好多時一啲古怪嘅發明啦，真係喺 Quirky 當中咧係有得銷售嘅。你會見到啦，下面有好多唔同嘅產品。You see there is a lot of products which is quite similar or quite usually occurs in our daily life, but we seldom see this kind of design. We may have similar products, but it doesn't have the same design. So the Quirky will help the people to develop those special or those quirky or very very weird products to make it in real。我哋話啦，Quirky 咧，即係 exactly 同佢名一樣啦，將啲好古怪嘅嘢喺我哋日常生活成日都會用到嘅產品，但係佢個樣同我哋見過嘅唔一樣，將啲好古怪嘅產品去變成一個真實產品喺佢哋網上，喺佢哋平台當中去銷售嘅。You see the Quirky project. This is the private power flexible power strip. It's a socket. Is a power socket. But normally our power socket is just a rectangular shape. Is not in this very special shape. Is have curvy and like a Lego or else. But right now they use this kind of design. They bring this kind of design in as a real product. First of all, they will have a design. All great products start as a simple idea, and the first version may not always be the prettiest. And the second one, they're going to design after basic research. The product is professionally designed to test for viability, and then they're going to make it as a sample, and the sample version of the product is then rendered, sampled, and prototyped, and finally the finished product is after passing the QA and safety testing. Product is packaged and shipped for sale。我哋話啦，平時我哋嘅拖板啦，正正常常都係長方形嘅，但係你會見到啦，喺 Quirky 入邊咧，佢就會將一啲好簡單嘅設計，一開始未必係好靚嘅，佢就會經過一啲 research 啦，將佢變得可用，變得可實行，變得 feasible 啊。咁然後佢再經過真係去做一啲 render 啦，去做 sample 啦，以至到生產做一個 prototype，佢就出現咗 sample。有咗 sample，經過咗 QA 測試，經過咗一啲 safety 嘅測試之後啦，個產品就可以生產、去 pack、去 ship、去 for sale 噶啦。 咁如果大家仲記得咧，啱啱嗰個 tutorial 我俾大家睇到啦，好多一啲breakfast gadgets 啦，係 you can't imagine will have such kind of appearance for such kind of purpose. But you see, they will have a lot of very inspiring product. Is very different as what we have been used and different as what we think. 有好多產品咧，我哋啱啱嗰個禮拜嘅啱啱過去咗嘅 tutorial 啦，都睇過啦。有好多產品你諗都未諗到我可以會係咁嘅樣嘅，或者會係咁嘅形狀、咁嘅功能，但係的確係可以做得到嘅。咁所以咧，其實最簡單，你個腦海裏面有一啲好天馬行空嘅形狀嘅樣貌嘅嘢，其實都可以做得到嘅喎。And also we can have a look the other case studies. And it's a Kickstarter. Kickstarter is a crowdfunding platform and it helps the artists, musicians, filmmakers, designers, and other creators to find a resource and support them and to make their ideas as a real in a reality. And to date, tens of thousands of creative projects, big or small, have come to life with the support of the Kickstarter community. 我哋話啦，Kickstarter 咧係一個眾籌嘅平台。呢個平台咧就係幫助一啲藝術家啦、音樂家啦、電影製作人啦，以至到設計師，以至其他啲創作者，去揾到一啲資源，幫助佢哋將佢哋嘅產品變成真實。咁我哋話啦，去到今時今日為止啦，Kickstarter 啦已經幫咗數以萬計大大小小嘅 creative project 咧實現為真嘅。And you can see some Kickstarter fund project. It's the Tapload, the first one, the left-hand side. It's Connect Teaport for a personalized tea experience. And the other one is Kalos. Kalos guitar is a carbon fiber ukulele and guitars. 你會見到啦，下面有兩個 example 都係 Kickstarter 嘅 project。一個咧就係 Taplow，Taplow 咧係提供咗一個好個性化嘅飲茶嘅體驗嚟嘅，因為佢係可以用 WiFi 啦、用藍牙啦、用 Apps 啦，可以連結到個茶煲啦，去做一啲控制，做一啲你相應想要嘅一啲customise 咗嘅一啲茶。除此以外啦，Kalos 嘅吉他啦，其實佢係一個 carbon fiber 做嘅 ukulele 或者係吉他嚟嘅，佢亦都已經係喺市面上面銷售緊㗎啦。And also, we have the other Kickstarter project as a novel idea for cleaning up oil spills. We call this as Proto. Proto is an open hardware open spill cleaning selling robot。嗱，你會見到幅圖啦，佢係一個機械嚟嘅，不過佢望落去咧就好似一個遊，即係一個嗰啲帆船啊。會撐嗰啲帆船嘅一個咁樣嘅狀況，你會見到佢會有唔同嘅部分。原因係咩咧？呢一個咧就係話，原來如果你係一個地方，佢有油污嘅話，你點樣可以清理咧？一個好理想、好創新嘅方法，就係用一架好似帆船咁嘅嘢，佢會後面拖住一條尾。佢就可以一路一路咁樣樣去清潔翻一啲釋出嚟嘅一啲油污啦或者物品啦。咁當中咧都會有一條 video 嘅，可以俾大家望一望㗎。
In the ocean, what is the common point between oil, plastic, and radioactivity? On the top line, this is the BP oil spill, billions of barrels of oil gushing in the Gulf of Mexico. The middle line is millions of tons of plastic debris accumulating in our ocean. And the third line is radioactive material leaking from Fukushima nuclear power plant on the Pacific Ocean. Well, these three big problems have in common that they are man-made problems, but they are controlled by natural forces. This should make us feel very terribly awful as much as it should make us feel hopeful, because if we had the power to create these problems, we may as well have the power to remediate these problems. But what about natural forces? Well, that's exactly what I want to talk about today, is how we can use these natural forces to remediate these man-made problems. When the BP oil spill happened, I was working at MIT and I was in charge of developing an oil spilling clean technology. And I had a chance to go on the Gulf of Mexico and meet some fishermen and see the terrible condition in which they were working. More than 700 of these boats, which are fishermen boats repurposed with oil absorbent in white and oil containment in orange, were used, but they only collected 3% of the oil on the surface. And the health of the cleaners were very deeply affected. I was working on a very interesting technology at MIT, but it was a very long-term view of how we could develop technology. And it was going to be a very expensive technology. And also it would be patented. So I wanted to develop something that we could develop very fast, that would be cheap, and that would be open source. So because oil spills are not happening only in the Gulf of Mexico, and that would be using renewable energy. So I quit my dream job and I moved to New Orleans, and I kept on studying how the oil spill was happening. Currently what they were doing is that they were using this small fishing boat and they are cleaning clean lines in an ocean of dirt. If you're using the exact same amount of surface of oil sorbent, but you're just paying attention to natural patterns, and if you're going up the winds, you can collect a lot more material. If you're multiplying the rig, so you multiply how many layers of sorbent you're using, you can collect a lot more. But it's extremely difficult to move oil absorbent against the wind, the surface currents, and the waves. These are enormous forces. So the very simple idea was to use the ancient technique of sailing and tacking of the wind to capture or intercept the oil that is drifting down the wind. So this didn't require any invention. We just took a simple sailing boat and we tried to pull something long and heavy. But as we tacked back and forth, what we lose was two things. We were losing pulling power and direction. And so I thought, what about if we just take the rudder from the back of the boat to the front? Would we have better control? So I built this small sailing rowboat with a rudder at the front, and I was trying to pull something very long and heavy. So that's a 4 meters long object just to pull. And I was surprised with just a 14 centimeter rudder, I could control 4 meters of sorbent. Then I was so happy that I kept playing with the robot. And so you see the robot has a front rudder here. Normally it's at the back. And playing, I realized that the maneuverability, well, this was really amazing. And I could avoid an obstacle at the very last second, more maneuverable than a normal boat. Then I started publishing online, and some friends from Korea, they started being interested in this, and we made a boat which has a front rudder and a back rudder. So we started iterating with this, and it was slightly better, although it was very small and a bit off balance. But then we thought, what if we have more than 2 points of control? What if the entire boat becomes the point of control? What if the entire boat changes shape? Thank you very much. And so that's the beginning of Protei, and that's the first boat in history that completely changed the shape of the hull in order to control it. And the properties of sailing that we get are very superior compared to a normal boat. When we turn, you have the feeling of surfing, and the way it's going upwind, and it's very efficient. This is low speed, low wind speed, and the maneuverability is very increased. And here I'm going to do a small jibe, and look at the position of the sail. What's happening is that because the boat changes shape, the position of the front sail and the main sail are different to the wind. We're catching wind from both sides. And this is exactly what we're looking if we want to pull something long and heavy. We don't want to lose pulling power, nor direction. So I wanted to know if this was possible to put this at industrial level. So we made a large boat with a large sail, and with a very light hull, inflatable, with very small footprints. So we have a very big size and power ratio. After this, we wanted to see if we could implement this and automate the system. So we used the same system, but we added a structure to it so we could actuate the machine. So we used the same bladder inflated system, and we took it for testing. So this is happening in the Netherlands. We tried in the water without any skin or ballast, just to see how well it works. And then we mounted a camera for control on it. But quickly, we saw that we would need a lot more weight at the bottom. So we had to take it back to the lab. Then we built a skin around it. We put batteries, remote controllers, and then we put it in the water. And then we let it go in the water and see how well it would work. So let some rope out and hope it's going to work. And it worked okay, but we still have a long way. Our small prototype has given us good insight that it's working very well, but we still need to work a lot more on this. So what we're doing is an accelerated evolution of sailing technology. We went from a back rudder to a front rudder to two rudders to multiple rudders to the whole boat changing shape. And the more we're moving forward, and the more the design looks simple and cute. So but I wanted to show a fish because, in fact, it's very different from a fish. A fish will move because by changing like this. But our boat is propelled by the wind still, and the hull controls the trajectory. So I brought to you for the first time on TED stage prototype number 8. It's not the last one, but it's a good one for making demos. So the first thing, as I show you in the video, is that we may be able to control the trajectory of a sailing boat better, or we may be able to never be in irons, so never facing the wind. We always can catch the wind from both sides. But new properties of a sailing boat. So if you're looking at the boat from this side, this might remind you of an airplane profile. An airplane, when you're moving in this direction, starts to lift, and that's how it takes off. Now, if you're taking the same system and you're putting vertical, you're bending, and if you're moving this way forward, your instinct will tell you, well, you might go this way. But if you're moving fast enough, we might create what we call lateral lift, so we could get further or closer to the wind. Other property is this. A normal sailing boat has a center board here and a rudder at the back. And these two things are what creates most resistance and turbulences behind the boat. But because this doesn't have neither a center board or a rudder, we hope that if we keep working on this whole design, we can improve and have less resistance. The other thing is most boats, when they reach a certain speed and they are going on wave, they start to hit and slap on the surface of the water. And a lot of the energy moving forward is lost. But if we're going with the flow, if we pay attention to natural pattern instead of trying to be strong, but if we're going with the flow, we may absorb a lot of environmental noises, so the wave energy, to actually save some energy to move forward. So we may have developed a technology which is very efficient for pulling something long and heavy. But the idea is, what is the purpose of technology if it doesn't reach the right hand? Normal technology or innovation happens like this. Somebody has an interesting idea, some other scientist or engineer, they take it to the next level, they make theory about it, and maybe they patent it. And then some industrial make a contract of exclusivity to manufacture and sell it. And then eventually a buyer will buy it, and we hope that they're going to use for a good purpose. What we really want is that this innovation happens continuously. The inventor and engineers and also the manufacturers and everybody works at the same time. But this would be sterile if this was happening in parallel and uncross process. What you really want is not a sequential, not parallel development. You want to have a network of innovation. You want everybody, like we're doing now, to work at the same time. And that can only happen if these people all together decide to share the information. And that's exactly what open hardware is about, is to replace competition by collaboration, is to transform any new product into a new market. So what is open hardware? Essentially, open hardware is a license. It's just an intellectual property setup. It means that everybody is free to use, modify, and distribute. And in exchange, we only ask for two things. The name is credited, the name of the project, and also that people who make improvement, they share back with the community. So it's a very simple condition. And I started this project alone in a garage in New Orleans, but quickly after I wanted to publish and share this information, so I made a Kickstarter, which is a crowd fundraising platform. And in about 1 month, we fundraised $30,000. With this money, I hired a team of young engineers from over the world, and we rented a factory in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. We were peer learning, we were engineering, we were making things, prototyping, but most importantly, we're trying our prototypes in the water as often as possible, to fail as quickly as possible, to learn from. This is a proud member of Prote from Korea. And on the right side, this is a multiple mast design proposed by a team in Mexico. This idea really appealed to Gabriela Levine in New York. And so she decided to prototype this idea that she saw. And she documented every step of the process. And she published it on Instructable, which is a website for sharing inventions. Less than 1 week after, this is a team in Eindhoven, it's a school of engineering, they made it, but they eventually published a simplified design. They also made it into an Instructable, and in less than 1 week, they had almost 10,000 views, and they got many new friends. We're working on also simpler technology, not that complex, with younger people and also older people, like these dinosaurs from Mexico. So Prote is now an international network of innovation for selling technology using this shape-shifting hull. And what puts us together is that we have a common, at least global understanding of what the word business is or what it should be. This is how the most work today. Business as usual say, what's most important is to make lots of profit. And you'll be using technology for that end, and people will be a workforce instrumentalized. And environments is usually the last priority. It would be just a way to, say, greenwash your audience and say, increase your price tag. What we're trying to do, or what we believe, because this is how we believe the work really works, is that without the environment, you have nothing. We are the people, so we need to protect each other, yes. And we're a technology company, and profits is necessary to make this happen. Thank you very much. If we have the courage to understand or accept that this is actually the way it really works, and this is the order of priority that we need to choose, then it makes obvious why we need to choose open hardware for developing environmental technology, because we need to share information. What's next for us? So this small machine that you've seen, we're hoping to make small toys like a 1 meter remote control prototype that you can upgrade, so replace the remote control part by Android, so the mobile phone, and Arduino microcontroller. So you could be controlling this from your mobile phone, your tablet. Then what we want to do is to create 6-meter versions so we can test the maximum performance of this machine. So we can go at very, very high speed. So imagine yourself, you are laying down in a flexible torpedo, sailing at high speed, controlling the shape of the hull with your legs, and controlling the sail with your arms. So that's what we're looking for developing. And we replace the human being to go, for example, for measuring radioactivity. You don't want a human to be sailing those robots with batteries, motors, microcontrollers, and sensors. This is what our teammate we dream of at night. We hope that we can sometime clean up oil spill, or we can gather or collect plastic in the ocean, or we can have swarms of our machine controlled by multiplayer video game engine to control many of these machines to monitor coral reefs or to monitor fisheries. Our hope is that we can use open hardware technology to better understand and protect our oceans. Thank you very much.
Okay, when you have a look on that video, you can see and you can understand they're using a flexible sailing boat and how in cleaning the ocean as their final aim, as the to achieve their final aims, and is open hardware is available for everyone to join to help in improve of the environment, and is now and this project is going through the Kickstarter to collect the fund to develop this kind of project. 咁你會見到啦，Kickstarter 啦就幫助到呢一個 project 啦，去籌集資金啦，去開發啦。而呢個產品最終佢嘅目的咧，就係希望可以為到個整個海洋生態啦，去做一啲工作，係去可以做到一啲清潔嘅工作嘅。咁我哋話啦，整個過程當中咧，佢都係藉住一個 Kickstarter 幫助佢哋去籌集資金，一路一路去開發出嚟。咁當然啦，當中都可以有好多唔同嘅 project 喺個 Kickstarter 呢個 platform 當中咧去進行嘅。咁所以我哋都會話啦，喺整個過程當中咧，佢都可以有好多唔同嘅可塑性、發展性喺當中嘅。藉住喺呢個 Internet 嘅世代當中 ，OK？咁我哋咧基本上所有真係paper 性㗎啦，或者 document 性嘅 content 咧，我哋就已經講晒㗎啦。咁記得啦，今個禮拜尾啦，即係或者 after today 啦，你就真係一定要裝呢個 Autodesk 嘅Fusion 360啦。因為下個禮拜二開始咧，我哋就已經要用到呢一個咁嘅 software 㗎啦。咁我哋會係連續2個禮拜tutorial 啦、lecture 啦，我哋都會用到一齊去 go through，一齊試下用呢一個 software 嘅，得唔得？咁除此以外啦，大家嘅 individual case study 應該點都籌備得七七八八㗎咯喎，至少都應該定咗你哋嘅 topic 㗎咯喎。咁我想睇下大家有啲咩問題啦，咁我呢個時間咧就會俾你哋去做一個 consultation 嘅。Any question regarding your individual case studies? And right now, actually, there's a time for you to raise your questions. When is the best time to add citation? 我個人會覺得啦，你可以參考翻個 sample 嘅。咁其實咧，你可以咧寫下幾時會加個 citation 咧，其實就係話如果你要用到相關嘅資料。當你做你嘅 study 嘅時候 ，individual case study 嘅時候，其實你可能會用翻相關嘅資料，你要 quote 翻相應嘅 reference 㗎嘛。當你 quote 嘅時候，你咪可能要落個 remark 咯，然後你喺嗰一版嗰個 page 嘅底下，你咪 quote 翻佢相應嘅資料咯。Should I stay torch or handheld flashlight, especially for the title？咁呢一個咧就 highly depends on 你究竟係用邊一種啦。如果你係以一個 category 一個 product category 去做咧，咁你就應該係用一個統稱。但係如果你好 specify 係用某一個產品咧，咁你就要 quote 翻係用某一個產品。咁所以你係應該要喺呢個 title 度好 clearly identify 咗你究竟係一個 product category 啊，定係一個產品啦，一個特定嘅產品。解唔解答到你哋啊？呢個解唔解答到你哋啊？呢個問題。What if it's a category？或者應該咁講啦，中文你會歸類佢，即係呢一個電筒類啊。手提其實都真係難嘅。你問我你都考起我。我應該用手提電筒。Is that list of everyone's phone number is for the group project？ 因為咧，我已經 post 咗個 email 喺度啦。其實我係冇你哋個別嘅電話號碼㗎，咁所以咧，可能只能夠真係單單靠 email 去聯絡嗰個同學咯。如果唔 email 嘅話，有咩方法咧？其實就係用 Teams。Teams 咧，你可以入咗佢嘅 student ID 之後咧，後面同你哋都係一樣咁樣做。at common CPCE polyu.edu.hk， 前面就係佢嘅 student number， 後面就係用 at common.cpce-polyu.edu.hk 咁樣去做咧，咁就應該可以 message 到佢嘅，即使冇佢嘅手提電話，可唔可以淨係講品牌？產品牌子，但係唔講型號。Dyson Vacuum Cleaner 可以，但係咧，你嘅內文你應該要概括。我會期望咧，你會包含咗佢哋一啲 common 嘅 characteristics 或者 common 嘅 features 咯。我會期望咯，即係大家都係唔同型號啦，大家都有個別唔同嘅功能，但係普遍佢應該都會有一啲特定嘅 features 嘅。電筒嗰個咧，我幫你試下揾下佢係屬於咩類型先啊？呢一個我都即係如果以類型咧，我都唔識答你啊！講真，呢一個以類型嘅話，OK，好唔OK，好電筒嘅類型啊。電筒係咪其實電都屬於電筒咧？Flashlight 算唔算係 flashlight 啊？咁我就要查翻嘅 flashlight。嗱，我會話手電筒咧，即係手提發光嘅嘢咧，即係統稱我哋電筒啦。我哋會稱佢為 flashlight 嘅，或者你可以用佢為 torch 嘅。但係 torch 啦，如果你嗰個唔係一個 handheld， 其實 torch 都係 handheld 嘅，torch 都有好多種類型。嗱，或者我咁樣講啦，我而家俾你望一望啊。嗱，當我如果揾 torch 嘅時候咧，其實你會見到有好多種唔同類型嘅 torch 喺度嘅。OK，嗱 torch 咧可以話係電筒，亦都可以話係火炬，係一個用手拎住嘅嘢咯。你可以理解為係用一個用手拎住嘅會發光嘅嘢咯。咁所以如果你係用呢一種咁嘅 product 嘅 category 啦，你應該用 torch 咯。除非你唔係手提嘅一個發光器，即係唔係一支嘅手提嘅發光器，否則的話咧，都好難，即係其實都應該係 torch。否則的話，你可能就係用一個叫做handheld luminaire 手提 handheld 啦。luminaire 就真係光啦，但係可能就真係靠電燈嘅光咯。所以我會覺得你用 torch rather than handheld flashlight 更加好咯。我會 prefer 你用 torch rather than handheld flashlight 咯，因為 handheld flashlight 咧就太過又再窄咗咯。仲有冇其他問題啊？有其他問題可以問㗎喎，趁呢個時間可以真係幫你解決一下相應嘅問題喎。 唔怕問喎。If you have any question, please feel free to ask because right here, right now, we're offering the time for you to ask the question. It helps you to clarify and to clearly define what should you do for your individual case study.大家仲有冇咩問題啊？可以唔問嘅喎，真係隨便問喎。如果係一啲 individual case study，嗱，以至到可能你哋group design project 有問題都可以依家問嘅喎。因為咧 group design project 咧，我唔係咁擔心嘅，因為之後咧每一 group 咧都會分別地有一個淨係 for 你哋 group 嘅 consultation 嘅時間，去問翻或者俾我睇翻你哋做嘅嘢 O 唔 OK 咧，或者大家一齊去諗呢個 design 得唔得咧咁樣嘅。咁所以我就唔係太擔心，反而係 individual case study 啦。咁雖然都唔係啲咩特別，咁但係就可能你哋自己去做嘅時候會有問題啦。咁我可以幫到你哋。有冇咩問題啊？The only part I haven't started is future trends and beyond. Are there anything I have to keep in mind? Actually, when you're talking about the future trends and beyond, you need to consider is there any impact related to the society? Because when we're talking about the future trends, we need to consider what it will going to be. How will it be in the future? 我哋會話啦，呢個產品將來會變成點咧？將來佢嘅發展會係點咧？Once we predict their futures, we need to consider how's that impact to the society。我哋就會問啦，當如果我哋去 foresee 緊佢哋 future 發展會變成點嘅時候，好自然就會問：如果佢變成咁樣，我對於個社會個 impact 係點咧？呢一個就好緊要啦。因為我哋話，如果我哋唔考慮對個社會嘅 impact，我哋就好難去決定究竟呢個產品嘅 development 可唔可能或者成唔成功啊？明唔明啊？因為你個產品究竟成唔成功，好取決於對於嗰個社會嘅影響係點噶嘛？得唔得啊？呢個理唔理解到先呢個？O 唔 OK 啊？Focus on the impact。 I would say not only the impacts, because you also have to predict the future trends. You also need to stay, but the impact is the essential elements, essential parts when you estimate the future trends and beyond. 我會話啦，其實你可以選擇 focus。又得，你可以選擇唔 focus 都得嘅。但我個人會話啦，其實佢唔係一個 唔 focus 嘅問題，而係佢必須要有嘅一個部分咯。因為當你講到 future trends 嘅時候，impact to 個 society 一定係佢必須有嘅一部分。email if I get stuck, thank you. OK，冇問題啊。其實咧，我會話啦，如果真係有問題嘅話咧，其實你哋 feel free 啊，你哋可以喺 Teams 入邊自己咧private 咁send message 俾我都得嘅，因為Teams 入邊咧，你 private 咁 send message 俾我，我亦都方便可以錄到音啊，各樣嘢。咁對於你哋嚟講咧，都會容易啲去處理到咯。O 唔 OK 啊？仲有冇其他問題啊？可以隨便問㗎喎。有冇問題啊？ Nothing so far. OK。唔緊要啦。咁其他同學咧，其他同學會唔會有啲咩問題啊？其他同學啦。OK，唔緊要嘅。嗱，如果其他同學咧有問題咧，都可以 anytime 去問啦。咁如果冇問題嘅話咧，咁就需要大家咧真係記得啦，一定即係你嫌我吟沉都係啦。係需要裝 Fusion 360嘅。裝咗之後咧，我哋下個禮拜二咧就已經開始咧去 practice 個 Fusion 360點樣做噶啦，得唔得啊？咁當然啦，如果大家有一啲同學可能已經有一啲 experience 嘅，咁就當然係 very good 啦。你可以幫到你之後嘅group project 佢哋嘅group design project 可以幫到手啦。如果你係已經好 master 到呢樣嘢嘅話，但係如果未學過嘅同學咧，唔緊要嘅，因為Fusion 360啦，其實係相對地容易，佢可以令到你見到做到一個立體嘅產品，容易啲嘅。相比起一啲比較複雜嘅CAD program 咧，佢係相對容易啲嘅。咁所以咧，記得啦，跟翻第一份 notes 咧，有教到你咧點樣去裝呢個 Fusion 360，點樣去申請嘅。咁你係需要提早做呢樣嘢嘅，make sure 你真係裝咗落去你個電腦嗰度先，得唔得？咁我哋今日就去到呢一部分先啦。咁我哋下個禮拜就開始去進入去 Fusion 360嘅部分啦。你係需要 create team，應該唔需要嘅喎。你 Fusion 360入邊嘅話，你係咪跟住？你係講緊你開 Fusion 360嘅時候啊？唔需要嘅喎，應該唔需要做呢樣嘢嘅噃。係咯，你可以 skip 㗎嘛，係咪啊？嗱，好多同學，你係咪好多同學已經試咗開咗啦？當開 account 咁樣開，應該好多同學試咗咯喎，冇得 skip 啊！會唔會有同學係佢嘅 group member 可以幫到佢啊？因為如果就咁講咧，我依家未開始360咧，又好難去係咯。你試下就咁 create 咗佢先啦。嗱，我會話咧，即係我都要教你哋一樣嘢。當我哋下個禮拜咧做 Fusion 360嘅時候咧，大家唔使驚嘅。佢嗰個 program 咧，你中意點撳就點撳啦。撳錯咗大不了，我哋咪刪咗佢再開過啫嘛，係咪啊？咁所以咧，其實唔使太驚要點樣整啊，點樣做啊，各樣嘢嘅，得唔得啊？唔需要太過擔心嘅，即係撳錯掣咧冇問題嘅。撳錯掣一係 undo，一係就成個刪咗佢，重新再開過，OK 嘅，得唔得？試下趁呢個時間可以自己試下玩下。咁我哋下個禮拜二就開始咧，就可以會容易啲 taste 到，容易啲玩到嗰個 Fusion 360，好有趣嘅。